How you guys all doing? Good. So we're going to do a little Q&A, and there'll be time for you guys to ask critical questions, okay? Intelligent questions, okay? All right. Bobby, welcome.
Excited to be here.
Yeah. So Bobby, you used to be on this side of the auditorium. What does it feel like to be on this side all of a sudden?
Oh, it feels surreal, to be honest. First of all, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. I sat where you guys are sitting, 9 years ago, and watched the founder of Costco speak. I am no founder of Costco, maybe one day, but excited to be here and chat. Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, Bobby, so that people know who you are, could you talk briefly about who you are and what your business does? We have got some of your products here.
Yeah, of course. So I'm Bobby Bitton, co-founder and CEO of O Positive. I co-founded O Positive about 6 years ago with my sister Brianna. She's here tonight, actually, up there. Brianna, say hi.
I want a hand for Brianna.
O Positive is a women's health business. So we started 6 years ago, really to help create the first proactive approach to women's health. A lot of women's health at that point was very reactive, and it was really born out of Brianna's experience with PMS and her menstrual health, and really wanted to try to create something proactive instead of everything being so reactive. So today we're in Santa Monica, California. We have about 90 employees, growing profitably. So we're really excited. I owe a lot to the professors here and what I learned here to kind of set the fundamentals to make what O Positive is today.
We'll talk more about O Positive and more about LMU, your experience, but let's, actually your parents are also here.
They are here, yes.
Can you raise your hand, your parents?
I don't think they've been back on campus since graduation.
So, I really like our students get to know our speakers. So, could you share a little bit about your growing up? When you were a child, was entrepreneurship one of your passions, or was there any indication you might become an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I think I was extremely lucky in the household I grew up in. So grew up here in LA, like a suburb called Westlake Village, like near Thousand Oaks. And I, again, like my dinner table conversations were pretty unique. My dad was an entrepreneur. He was a restaurant designer and architect. And he was building his business. He, when I was 5 years old, left his company where he was at for, decades.
By the way, I have a picture of you and you're about 5 years old.
Oh, that's me and Brianna. Yeah. So I watched my dad when I was, 5 years old, go out and start his own business, and he started in the garage, right? So I had this idea always in me that it was, possible to start something. I saw a great example of that. And on the flip side, my mom is an inventor. It sounds like a very broad term, but she has about 20 patents all in the health and beauty space. So she kind of came up with these ideas, and instead of necessarily creating them herself, she went and licensed these patents to people like Disney, Colgate, things like that, all in kind of the consumer product health space. So soft soap, for example, like soaps and chapsticks and things like in that. And it was a unique opportunity to grow up there because our dinner table conversations were like solving problems. With my dad ranting about the people at work and how to build a business and employees, and my mom talking about how to license patents and things like that. So incredibly inspiring. Was incredibly lucky to kind of have it in me to know that you could build something and you just didn't necessarily need a lot. You just needed the tenacity to kind of keep breaking through and really trying, because nothing on the first go is perfect. You're gonna have to keep iterating, but you gotta just put one foot in front of the other, and at least like get out the door. I think was kind of the biggest thing that my upbringing helped me just say, hey, you can take a shot. It might not work, but you should take a shot.
I like that. So you could see what's possible. You have an idea and create a business. You saw how sometimes things don't work out as planned. You gotta keep going.
Totally.
Yeah.
They rarely are perfect.
Yeah. That's a really good lesson. Because some people think you have an idea and you have a business tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
But you saw the difficulty and the tenacity you need to build a business. Okay, great. So obviously your sister is more photogenic. But I think you become a bit more photogenic over time.
Over time I've blossomed a little bit.
Yeah, good, perfect. Now this is a talk about photogenic. This is I found it in the Prowl system. Okay. By the way, I see your mom's phone number. Please don't copy this. Take a photo of this anywhere. I see that I was your advisor. I don't remember that
There
part.
he is.
Yeah.
There he is.
By the way, so this is a really good picture of yours. And so let's talk about your experience at LMU. So
Yeah.
how did you end up coming to LMU? How did you majoring in entrepreneurship? And what was the experience like?
Yeah, I mean, at the time, LMU was like my top school. I wanted to stay in California. I wanted to stay near my family. And there was this major called entrepreneurship, which again, like 9 years ago, was pretty novel. Like no schools really had it. A couple schools, and I knew that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to figure out how do you build something, how do you start something from scratch. And again, I had this at-home experience, but I wanted to be like, okay, who can teach me other things other than just my wonderful family. And I was lucky enough when I was growing up to attend baseball games here. So my cousin was an alumni. So I'd come as a kid and watch baseball games here. And like, it was the most beautiful campus. It's like everyone around was beautiful. I'm like, this is where I want to be. And then that major really just pulled me because there was nothing I saw before. So came in as a freshman and genuinely it had such an impact.
You know what's interesting is I think we started the major only like in 2011 or 12.
Yeah.
So right when you're applying is when you had.
Yeah, 2012. It was very, very new. Yeah.
Because before we had an emphasis, and then we were forced to have a major, and then you were one of the first class. I remember 2016 class was one of the first classes that I went through and had a major, and that was an exceptionally interesting class. A lot of really interesting, talented people. We have a picture of you from one of the classes. So you were standing, by the way, you look really muscular in this picture.
Yeah.
Were you working out at the time?
Thank you, yeah, more than I am today. This is a funny photo. So I didn't even know this photo existed. So Dr. DeMello sent me this the other day while we were kind of prepping for this talk. This was, I think, Dr. DeMello's first day ever teaching in general at LMU. We were his first class, and he had a guest speaker come, and they made us stand on the table to give a pitch. They were like, okay, well, like, let's break the ice, get on the table, pitch your business that you have. And I was like, okay, great, raise a hand, get on the table, pitched this, like, interchangeable car company where your framing your car changes. It was like an awful idea. And I was like nervous, and I got up, and as I was getting down from the table, my entire pants ripped. Full butt, full ripped. Emma, one of my best friends is here. She sat next to me. She's
right there.
Drove me to the mall. Because I didn't live on campus. Drove me to a mall to pick up pants that day. And I was like, great, that's my first day in my entrepreneurship major with all these new people that I never met before, splitting my pants open and standing on the table. So it was like kind of rock bottom. So I knew, it was only up.
Only up. Yeah. The first pitch ever.
And there's a picture of it. Who knew there was one? Why is there a picture of it? I don't know. Yeah.
But please do not have a picture of your pants actually ripping.
No.
Before.
Before. Yeah.
Okay, so you could only go up after that.
Yeah.
And then after LMU, you ended up joining a very interesting company.
Yeah. So upon graduation, a family friend of ours had a couple patents in baby and pregnancy space. So they had this baby swaddle that had a head, neck, and spine support in it. He was like a serial entrepreneur. He was doing a bunch of other stuff. And he's like, hey, I have these patents. You just graduated with an entrepreneurship degree. You want to like come join as employee number one of this little venture and see if you can make something interesting out of it. And I kind of just loved the blue sky opportunity. And I was there for 2 years, and I think there were two key things that kind of, one I fell in love with, and two that I learned that kind of led me to a positive. One was, it was the golden age of direct-to-consumer marketing. So this was 2016, pre-TikTok. Facebook ads were kind of just hitting, Shopify was just new. And I got to kind of just have this like very much freedom to be like, okay, great, we have a product, how do we sell it? And I fell in love with like what they call growth marketing, right? Which is like e-commerce marketing. And I think what was so beautiful about it at the time, and still is today, was just the rapid education and rapid learning that happens because you're getting this feedback loop and this data right away. And what I mean by that is, you can make an ad take that image and put a value proposition on it. You can put it on Facebook, run that ad, put some spend behind it, and within hours or the next day, you have data, right? You know how many people clicked on it, how many people converted on it, and then what you can do is you can make tweaks. So the next day you're gonna, okay, great, it seems like this ad with this copy works. Then you're gonna make 5 of those and you're gonna tweak. And it was this feedback loop that really gets addictive. It's like gamifying how to build a company. And then there's this like this positive reinforcement of like revenue going up and revenue building. And you're like, oh my God, we're on to something here. And the more money you put into this machine of digital marketing kept spitting out, a positive ROI. And that was something that was like, again, it was addictive. I was like, this is what I want to build. I want to do something in e-commerce and keep doing this. And the second thing, which kind of a little bit led to O Positive, was I was a man in my early 20s, working in a business where our consumers were trying to conceive, pregnant, or just have their first child. I did not have much exposure to that, right, at that age. And being an outsider, I think, kind of gave me a little bit of the superpower because I was kind of shocked at just the lack of products and the lack of education and community that surrounded women's health, like pregnancy and things like that, but specifically women's health nutrition. And I went home and I was roommates with Brianna, my sister, and I was like, Brianna, can you believe how underserved women's health is? And she's like, oh yeah, idiot, like I've been dealing with this my entire life. And I was like, well, tell me about it a little bit. And she educated me primarily on her experience with her menstrual health and how exhausted she was with the system being so reactionary, right? When I say reactionary, I mean she would have cramps and they'd say, great, suck it up, just take some Advil. Or she'd have hormonal acne and they'd be like, great, here's 10 different kinds of birth control, pick your poison. But there was no proactive approach to menstrual health or women's health. And that was kind of this spark that we got really excited about.
Yeah. This is interesting because most people start businesses based on a problem that they experience, right? In your case, you never experienced a menstrual cycle, but you are empathetic to a group, and you thought, oh, maybe we could do something about it.
Totally. Yeah, I think inspiration can come from all over, and I think it's an obsession with problem solving. It can be your problems. It's much easier if it's your problems because you can understand it deeply, you can connect with your consumers. But looking at the people around you, especially the people that you love, that you're intimately, linked to, you can try to solve, their problems as well.
This is why if you're empathetic and you care about other people, you actually have often more ideas for your business, right?
Yeah.
I think I wrote that in my book, by the way. Anyway, if you're looking back,
I quote you all the time. Yeah.
Looking back, this particular business, right? So, because we have a bunch of students who are actually looking for their first job and stuff.
Yeah.
So this was important for you because you learned about the women's health, but you also learned about how to run a small business, maybe. Yeah. So that was sort of like useful experience for you.
Totally. I think what I tell a lot of people that come work at O Positive now or that job, what it allowed me to do is learn on someone else's dime, right? You want to the beautiful thing was it was so early stage, right? Like employee number one, blue sky, and it was kind of like an amazing entrepreneur who didn't really know e-commerce. So I had this trust of like, hey, go figure it out. And it's okay if you fail a little bit, just like, stay within these bounds of budget and things like that, but go learn and go succeed. So it was just an incredible opportunity to then play a little bit, right? You play and you figure things out and you figure out what works. And again, you get a little addicted to that feedback loop.
Yeah, so maybe that's a good lesson. So if any of you want to start a business, maybe joining a small, interesting, growing company might be a good path.
Yeah, I think just coming out of college, you want to do something kind of as risky as possible. It's the time that you guys can take the most risk. So how can you get something early stage where you can get exposure to people or opportunities that, when you're in your later 20s and 30s and there's a lot more weight to your life, you can't take that risk as much. So I definitely encourage that. It was a special opportunity.
Okay, great. All right, so let's talk about your
the early days.
Early days. Okay, so this is kind of interesting. So interesting thing to me is that this product actually works, right? Because a lot of people have supplements and they kind of work a little bit. How did you develop this product so that it actually would work?
It's such a good question because I think it's important for kind of everyone to hear this. Is Brianna and I did not come from science backgrounds. Brianna was a design major at UCLA, was a Disney Imagineer, so brand, aesthetic, storytelling, that's her strength. I went here, studied business, had some chops in e-commerce, had no idea how to make a product, let alone a product that you could ingest. So what did we do? You figure it out, right? We kind of did as much research as we could on PubMed. We would crash OBGYN appointments and ask them about ingredients. We'd call every contract manufacturer on the first 3 pages of Google until the one on maybe page 4 finally picked up the phone and let us do a run for 8,000 bottles because everybody else was saying, no, you need 50,000 bottles, and we just didn't have the cash for that. It was just like, it's trial and error and getting to learning as much as you can and getting somewhere that it's 80%. And if it's 80%, like get it to market. Like you can take to 100%. Get it 80%, get it to market. We wanted to be a little more careful because this is something people are putting in their bodies, so safety had to be at 100%. But like how you could always tweak your product. So it's about a year. It was a year from when I left my job. I thought it was going to be like 4 months. It takes a lot longer than you think usually to launch a product. And about a year later, in like late 2018, we launched our first product, which was Flow, which was the first ever supplement for PMS, if you can believe it. It was kind of this wonderful category creating product.
What's in it? What makes it work so well?
Yes, there's 3 active ingredients, chasteberry, lemon balm, and vitamin B6. And very simple formula. We put it in a package, I say, but like in a gummy format that was approachable, easy to take. But we didn't reinvent the wheel. We weren't doing brand new clinical studies on this. We took third-party research that was already done on the ingredient level of these things, and took it and packaged it into a new form. And instead of people taking chasteberry on Amazon, now they're taking Flow, which is for PMS, right? Instead of just buying an ingredient, we're solving a problem-solution messaging with a clear benefit. So it wasn't reinventing the wheel, it was just kind of making it look different and more approachable for a specific problem.
It's interesting. So when you look at PubMed or Google Scholar, you do see sciences of how certain ingredients work on certain things. But there aren't always products out there. So are there still opportunities?
100%. I mean, I think that difference between a problem-solution messaging product that's going after a problem solution versus like an ingredient. You guys probably see a ton of things for like ashwagandha, but like, is there something for stress where ashwagandha is a key ingredient in it? Like, it's just really a framing, which kind of meets the marketing angle. It's kind of just a framing of how do you want consumers to perceive it. And are you solving a problem, or are you offering like a commodity as an ingredient, which is also still great businesses are built on that.
One thing I liked about your products is the packaging, right? All your products are still beautifully packaged, right? Now, who was in charge of the design?
I can't take a lot of credit. I can't take a lot. Brianna did an incredible job on kind of the initial packaging, and then it was building out from there. I wish I put it in here, but like the original bottles did not look like that, right? Like they were still cool for that time, but again, your first product is never your last product. You should never look at like this is the product that's going to be for the next years. It's the first one right now, and then you're going to tweak it, and as you should tweak it every little bit. I think a company that we look up to a lot that you guys probably know is like Athletic Greens, AG1, right? They're a one product business, but they're on like iteration like 50. They just keep iterating, keep making it better. I think we take a lot of inspiration from them, not only from the product, but also on the branding. It should be better, it should change with the times. Like stay true to who you are, but you should adapt.
Let's look at one of your first advertisements, right?
Oh, okay, yeah. So this is. I made this like in like whatever it was before CapCut or something like that. It was just like an editing thing. But this was our first like video we launched day 1 in 2018.
Let's see if this works.
That was the original back.
It still looks good.
Yeah. That's my wife now.
I didn't realize that. Okay, so interesting. So, who are you targeting there? Young women?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of had I think it was interesting. That video specifically was like, we thought our target demographic was going to be like 18 to 24, right? We're like 18 to 24, people that struggle with this, people that just graduated college, just like us, kind of how we were thinking about it. And we came to market, and it turned out that that was the like least impacted demo from our products. So it was people from 25 to 35 resonated the most, second most 35 to 45, lastly 18 to 24. And I think that was like an interesting learning because, you always need to have a hypothesis of who you're going after, but it's usually changes over time, and as you get data, as you kind of can refine that. But this was something, I mean, the main thing was it to be cheeky, get attention, be loud, and get as many eyeballs as possible. It wasn't overly complex, so how can we like be provocative in a way that was not Nature's Made or Nature's Bounty vitamins?
Yeah. You know what happens when, I can tell you this now, when you see a young person in commercials, you know what an older guy thinks? Oh, that's me.
Totally.
Right?
Totally.
I don't realize like I'm old,
Yeah.
not that guy, but you know,
Yeah.
that's what I think sometimes. You said this is your wife.
No, that's not my wife. My wife is back there.
The other one, yeah.
The other one. Yeah.
In the video.
Yeah.
So was she a girlfriend, a model, or was she a model that you dated?
Oh, good question. So me and Caitlin met 2 weeks after I quit my job to start this company. So I was unemployed and had an idea for a PMS vitamin company. God bless her, she stayed with me the entire time. Yeah, not very marketable. No, she I think was just lovely and in all of her ads because I didn't have anyone else to do it. So Brianna, my sister, and Caitlin were pretty much in every single ad for that first year because they were free. Anyway.
Now what I remember is, so you were going D2C, and then you had just one product for a long time.
Yeah.
How long was that?
So we've been around 6 years. I'd say 2.5 of those were one product. That was kind of like the best thing we ever did because it let us just hyper-focus. Just focus. Understand the marketing, understand the consumer, understand what their wants were beyond that product. So then we can go develop those. But it was just laser focus.
Yeah, I found that interesting because, you know, when our students, you think about starting a business, you immediately think you need a Amazon of a huge product line, right? So that's interesting. Now, and then you start developing, you know, other products.
Yeah.
Now, what's your like overall marketing philosophy or approach? This is your website right now. This is your Instagram. What are some ideas behind your marketing?
Yeah, I think like just I'll take a step back and just like the vision of the brand, right? Like why does the brand exist? What is it here for? Specifically as we grew from this kind of one product company hyper-focused on one specific issue, menstrual health. You know, that was about a year into the business and we had this luxury of taking a step back and thinking, okay, well, what are we building here, right? We have some success, what are we building? We sat down, me, Brianna, my family, and we're like, well, you know, there's kind of two key themes that we want to hold true. One is we want O Positive, kind of this parent company, to be with a woman throughout her entire life, right? So from her first period through sexual health, pregnancy, menopause, these big 4 hormonal life moments that have been historically overlooked, that have been wrongfully tabooed, that people don't make products for, that are more reactionary than proactive. That's what we want to do. We want to have this life stage company that we thought was pretty unique, and we saw the success with Flow, and that's what we wanted to do. The second big idea, that again, both these hold true to today, was we wanted to make products that you could actually feel and measure the results. So again, nothing against multivitamins, but like they're hard to know if they're working, right? It's hard to measure. It's hard to measure an immunity product, immunity gummy. We wanted to root ourselves in, if someone can feel our products working, if they can feel their cramps going away or their hot flashes going away in menopause, they're going to stick with this product longer, right? It's going to become less of an optional supplement like a multivitamin and more like a sticky RX product because they can actually see tangible benefits of that. And that ended up being just an incredible business model because if people are staying with you a long time, it lets you invest more in marketing, but also they can move through, specifically us, these life stages with our brand. So you ideally have this customer for a really long time, which allows you to kind of spend a lot to acquire them because you know that their lifetime value with your brand is going to be large.
Very cool. I always thought it was easier to sell painkillers than vitamins, right? Yeah, you have a more focused customer segment. So what was your second product?
Yeah, so the second product was a flop. The second product we made was an immunity product, which helped us kind of refine down to that vision of, hey, we want people to actually feel and measure the results. It also helped us, this is an interesting story, it also helped us kind of refine our business model. So our original product was a gummy, Flow gummy. Our second product was a gummy. Gummies are inherently hard to make. difficult because you have just more variables. You have taste, you have texture, you have all these things. And they happen to be made by a few big manufacturers and that have really incredibly high minimums. So, for example, like 40,000 bottles was the minimum. So you have to take a big bet. It's a huge bet to make a new product because you got to put the cash out there to buy 40,000 bottles, not knowing if someone's gonna purchase them. And the ship that came when we developed that second product, which didn't work, we were sitting on all this inventory, we had to throw it away, was, is there a better way to test and learn products? Kind of like what we did on ads, like I said earlier. Is there, where you could put an ad up on Facebook, you put $100 behind it, you'll know if it works. Is there a quicker way to do that with products? So that's when we started introducing capsules. Capsules, much more manufacturers out there. You can order 10,000 bottles instead of 40,000 bottles, and there's no variables like taste and texture and things like that. It's just efficacy and value prop. And that fundamentally changed the business. It went from us being able to launch 2 products a year, 2 gummies a year, to launching like 7 to 10 products a year. And what that let us do was be less precious, take more bets, because basically if 2 of those products worked that year, it's a great year. Except if like a gummy didn't work, like the year was ruined. And then if that product worked, we'd go make a gummy and things like that. It was taking this test and learn approach, but applying it to product, not just marketing.
Capsules probably have a lower cost of goods.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. This is a good lesson for you guys. Right? If you have an idea for a product, you can basically launch and just try it out.
Yeah.
So what was the second product then? What was that you actually were successful with?
The second successful product, I think, was when we launched our menopause line.
Okay.
So that was before our Euro line, which is our sexual health line, which is our most successful one right now. But it was born out of, again, my mom's experience. My mom's experience with menopause. And she saw what we were doing for Brianna. She was like, hey, I want something like this, something that's non-hormonal. She had some health issues where she couldn't take necessarily hormone replacement therapy, which is kind of the main thing women in menopause take. But there was this huge population that couldn't take hormone replacement therapy and needed something to balance their hormones. So again, out of my family's life experience, out of my mom's experience, came the birth of this product and came the birth of our second big success. It was the first ever gummy vitamin for menopause. Because like Dr. Choi said, his own experience, like people are like, people over 40 don't want gummies. Like gummies are for, like, that is just not true, right? Like people that are 45 are young. Like we look at them and we're like, oh, they're, our parents and this, and they're not. They're young people. They're young people that want to feel and be spoken to in a way that resonates with them. And I think we kind of hit that nail on the head at the perfect timing when menopause and just like menstrual health was coming up, and was able to kind of find that market and really capitalize on it, which was exciting. But again, born out of amazing family experience of a problem that we could solve. But it's again just listening, it's paying attention to what's going on around you.
I know this metal product works. What's somehow for some reason. But what's special about this product? Why does it work?
Yeah, it's a similar mechanism of action to a lot of our products, right? So like a common theme to all of our products is hormone health, right? It's this new category that we are trying to like continue to trailblaze. Is your endocrine system, which controls all the hormones in your body, pretty much controls everything, right? It's your energy levels, your weight, your mood. These are all these signals that get sent to your glands to secrete hormones, and then it tells your body to do something. So similar to flow, like flow doesn't tackle like cramps, it's not a pain reliever. It helps balance your estrogen and progesterone levels so they don't spike during your cycle, causing cramps in these symptoms. Very similar to menopause, more just on the estrogen side. So it helps like be an estrogen modulator, so you don't have hot flashes, night sweats, things like that.
This guy sounds like a medical doctor.
Oh, yeah. it's a lot of training. I'm not a medical doctor.
Let's see. Is this one of your
products? So this is Euro. This is our bestseller. If you guys are on TikTok, you probably saw this on TikTok. It's all over TikTok, which is great, really fun. But this was kind of a breakthrough for us. And I think what's interesting about this product is in a lot of our categories, we were first to market, right? We created a category. We're the first PMS vitamin. We're the first menopause gummy. This one we were early, but not the first. But we were the first ones to talk about it in a way that wasn't done before. So people were making women's probiotics, hoo-ha probiotics, all these things and these slangs, and like core to our ethos is breaking down taboos and talking about things very openly. And we were the first people to ever call it a vaginal probiotic. And I think that just sent this product to the moon because people knew what it was, resonated with how we were talking about it, wasn't trying to cover it up, and being kind of loud and proud when it comes to, I think, solvable problems that people hush and don't talk about, and we're very open about it, and I think that, again, is like kind of core to our brand. So huge breakthrough. This is our biggest product by far, which is wonderful.
Interesting. I think I got pictures from other products. This is the
That's
Meno.
the Meno line, yeah.
Yep. And then, let's see, what is this one?
Oh, Prego. Yeah, Prego's our newest line. This was interesting because it was the first time we did a men's product. And we didn't kind of mean to make a men's product. We set out to make the best conception support, fertility support supplement on the market for her and her experience. And what we found out through research, which again, a lot of people don't talk about, which is, infertility is defined as like a year of trying to get pregnant and not being able to get pregnant. And 50 to 60% of infertility was actually caused by the guy. Was caused by sperm health and motility. And this pressure on society and all these things are 90%, I'd say, held by the woman. And we felt like if we need to kind of make a product with the highest efficacy, which is like the number one most important thing for us, we need to fix the sperm. So we made a his and hers product. So we did Prego Sperm Health and Conception Support, which is focused on egg health. And this is the newest brand. It kind of completes our cycle of like these 4 big product lines, these 4 big moments in her life that now we want to go deeper in. We're probably done making brands. It's a lot of work. Probably made too many. We rationalized down to 4. Yeah.
Now, this particular product, the men's product, do you market to men or do you market to women?
A little of both.
Yeah, okay.
A little of both. It's always from her lens and the family lens, but we do a little bit of both. Yeah.
Okay, cool. By the way, I see somebody in the audience who's seen the growth of your business because you used to ship your product.
Ah, yeah.
Stephen is here.
Hey, Stephen.
Yeah.
Stephen, I think it was year 1 of the business. He owned a company at the time called QuickBox. We still work with them today, which ships all of our packages. Again, talk about someone that believes in you. You were a tiny, very tiny business to them. Got introduced to them from a buddy, and was willing to take us on. We were able to grow with them for 6 years now. It's crazy. It's been an incredible journey. And I think that is kind of just like rooted down to one I think important point, which is like it's still a very personal, relationship-oriented line of work is building a business, right? We have had so many times that we almost got put out of business, and the only reason that we were saved was because we had a relationship, because they liked working with us, because we were kind, because we were innovative, because we were good partners. And it's this sense of like, as much as you can, try not to be transactional. Like, people say like business is emotional. Like, I disagree. I'm like, get emotional, right? Like, get to know them, talk to them, build this relationship with people. Because I think it's incredibly powerful, because when shit hits the fan, like, you're gonna call that person up and they're gonna care about you because you asked them what they did on their family vacation. And I think it's somewhat of a different philosophy than like a corporate transactional philosophy, but I think like, we almost got shut out of our manufacturers, like ingredient suppliers that would shut down the business in the early days. It only worked because we were able to pick up the phone and call them, and they're like, "Oh, Bobby, like, you're a nice guy. Like, for you, we'll do it, right?" But like, truthfully, it's don't discount kindness and relationships, especially when building a business.
Let's talk about people. So what I find interesting is you hired really talented people, right?
Yeah.
Could you just talk about that? Yeah.
Yeah, so that was probably one of the biggest turning points in my life and specifically in my career, which everyone says it's kind of a cliche. It's like, hire people that are smarter than you, and like I think that's like such a truism. But we were about a year into the business. We had no employees. We were about to hire our first employee. We just raised our first round of VC funding. Like, it was so much money at the time, and we were ready to hire our first employee. And I got introduced to our CMO, still our CMO today, Martin Yee, and this guy is just like a wizard, right? And the beauty about his profile, he was a statistician from Harvard, he was 6 years at McKinsey, like, I didn't even know what McKinsey was, there were, at that point in my life. And it was identifying people that are incredibly similar to you from a values perspective, of like, how do you communicate, how do you look at the world, you're very similar, but then drastically different when it comes to the skill set and background and what they can solve for. Because I learned really early on, me and Brianna, like, we're good at a few things and we're not good at the majority of other things. And what you want to do is find people that are so much better at that than you are, and assemble this dream team, like as early as you can, right? And you make them a part of it. You make them a partner. They're not an employee, they're a partner in this business. And you grow with them. And I think we do that with Martin, our CMO, Alicia, our CFO, Hamish, our COO, Chase, our Chief Brand Officer. And it was like just this the second year of business, but first year of really having employees. And just you assembled the dream team, right? It was still a simple business. It was one product, but we got these people together that I knew could amplify us and just had a skill set I did not have.
How do you find these really talented people, though? Yeah.
Oh, it was. I got a little lucky, truthfully, right? Our venture capital firm, Guild Capital, has a recruiting arm, and they were like, "Hey, we want to put some money into this business, but we also want you to meet some really smart people that are going to help grow this thing and take it to the next level." And that's kind of how I got introduced to it. But I think there's just a specific profile. It's people that are willing to get their hands dirty and figure things out without a lot of like backing. I think it's scrappiness, for lack of a better word. You want to find people that are scrappy, right? You guys are all scrappy. You want to go figure it out. We don't have a lot of resources. We're going to do it. It's finding people like that, but yet have a different skill set and look at the world in a different way. Because you want to broaden how you think about problems. If you have people that just think like you're not going to have the most creative solutions to the problems that are inevitably going to come.
We have a lot of students who are taking marketing classes, and for your company, I think you guys are really into data, right?
Yeah.
Getting data and analyzing. How important is data?
It's critically important. I have learned that. I was always like a gut instinct guy. Like I'm just gonna go with my gut and make that decision. And I think again, surrounding Brianna and myself with people that made decisions in different ways, made decisions with data, couldn't make a decision without having the data, really created a nice tension and balance, because I just want to make decisions to move quick, and they want the data to do it. It ends up actually coming to really good outcomes. But when you're talking about e-commerce, when you're talking about direct response growth marketing, it's all data. It's all there. It's all like, because you get it all. Like, we know if someone breathes before they click an ad, right? It's so granular. So you need to know how to look at it. But a lot of the times, the answer is there on how to tweak it and get to it. And that's the same with product as well. You put products out and you get the feedback back. There's NPS, which is called Net Promoter Score, which you measure your product and reviews and things like that. But it's just like, it's gonna get you 80% of the way there, and your gut's gonna push you over the edge to make the decision.
I want to ask a question about financing.
Yeah.
So initially, how did you finance the very first batch?
What do you mean?
Batch of products.
Oh, batch of products.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you finance the 8,000?
How did I finance it? My wonderful first investor up there, mom and dad, they believed in us. They spotted our first 8,000 bottles, our first PO. And then we were kind of like pretty much cash neutral at that point, right? We sold those bottles, we needed more money to buy the other bottles, and we kind of just floated ourselves at like break even for about a year. And we were able to grow in that first year. That was more than we ever thought the business could do. It was a one product company on a Shopify store with me and Brianna working on it on our kitchen table. And then we got introduced to, it was less looking for money, it was more looking for someone to kind of help guide me through this next path, right? Like, it was me, my dad and mom and Brianna were kind of tapped out a little bit. We didn't know what the next stage was. We're like, do we raise money? Do we not raise money? What's the next step in the business? Do we launch new products? And that's when we started talking, like, through introductions. I think Luke Jaffe introduced me to some people back in the day, to venture capitalists, some angel investors in venture capital, and just got a sense of it. And we made the decision really, again, we went with the, I think, worst check, worst valuation, but best people. And I think it was the best decision we ever made, because the pie is 10 times bigger than I think it would have been if we went with, a check that maybe didn't have the best people, or didn't have people that were going to lean in as much as our investors did.
Did you only do one round of financing?
Yeah, so we have one VC, but 2 rounds. So they did a follow-on round,
Okay.
but very simple cap table. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been lucky in that respect. We didn't do an A, B, C, D. We
Yeah.
kind of raised and diligently spent on our Amex as much as we could and ran the business.
Did you have to take out any loans or?
Yeah, we over the first couple of years, we primarily used like debt, like cash flow debt. So it's not like historical from Bank of America. It's like alternative debt that like lands on your subscriptions because we have a big subscriber base, so we knew that money was coming in, and that helped fund the growth in a non-dilutive way, right? You want to try to dilute as much, like you don't want to dilute as little as possible. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about getting into retail.
Yeah.
So this is Target, right?
Yeah, that's Target.
So tell us your thought process from going all B2C to now into stores.
Yeah, it's a really good question. It's this journey from like direct to consumer to like the world we're now is omni-channel. And I think direct to consumer was the perfect place, and I still think the perfect place to launch businesses because you can learn with very little risk. You can learn as much as possible. You can get the data. You control the information. I think when you get to a certain scale, you want your marketing dollars to go further. You want to meet the shopper where they're at. You want to kind of bring your heavy hitters to retail, to Amazon, to these other channels, because when the flywheel works all together, it really works, because some channels are a little less profitable than the others, some are more profitable, and when you get all of them working together, it creates a really solid business model. So we launched in Target about like a year and some change ago. This was our first end cap, and the wonderful thing was we built a substantial, large direct-to-consumer business. So when we went retail, we took this big bet of putting it there that they could kick you out, you can't get back in. It's like you got one shot to go retail. We were really confident that not only when people saw it, they were going to pick it up, but ideally when people walked in the store, they say, "Oh my God, I've seen that ad 100 times." And I still think that is a solid model. Is you want trajectory, you want brand recognition before you take these big bets. Retail definitely being one of those big bets, and it's gone incredibly well. We're #1 in category in intimate care. We sit right next to the tampons. We're actually outside of the vitamin aisle, and it's been like the greatest partnership. Target is so great to launch a brand. What they invest in you, it was this tailwind of women's health, which like they wanted to invest in. They wanted to make sure that like they felt it was important, and we've been kind of that cornerstone brand for them, which has been great.
I'm going to open up the floor for questions.
Yeah,
right?
please, happy to answer anything. Yeah.
Surprisingly, Diane dominates my class with questions. That's a question.
Let's use the microphone.
Sure.
Do you have another microphone here?
Just that one, but I could go around and test.
Right, thank you.
2 questions for you.
Yeah, please.
First one, you were talking about how like you think it's a really good path to go direct to consumer. I was wondering what your opinion of that is now, considering how hard it is to finance like CPG goods, especially through venture capital, and kind of how you would approach that.
Oh, that's a really good question. I still think it's the best place to launch because the cost of a CPG good is the cost of a CPG good. The risk of taking an investment, buying a good, and then trying to launch it on directly to retail with very little support, I think, would be a lot harder. I think the goal would be, how do you get the product, like its essence as pure as it can, but as minimal cost as possible, right? How can you get that MVP? And then get it in people's hands to test, because you don't want to take these big bets in retailer or even Amazon's probably still good. When I say direct to consumer, I think Amazon is also a great channel to use, so that you don't have to spin up a website and you can get some learnings there. Definitely a good path. But I think like doing e-commerce, trying to get an MVP, even if it's not 100% there, is probably like still probably my favorite way of thinking about launching a brand.
Yeah, and then second question, being a supplement brand, right, you don't have to get FDA approval. So how do you kind of market your credibility without that FDA kind of patch on your product?
That's a fantastic question. Yes, you're very right. So supplements are regulated by the FDA but don't need FDA approval like a drug. So for us, it's like mission critical to express efficacy and quality, because there's like a pool of a ton of products. It's very low barriers to entry. So we do that in a couple ways. One is like as much clinical data as possible, right? And you share that and you be transparent with it. So it's like, here's our research, here's our data, here's the levels of ingredients that they're studied at, and here's the levels that they are in our products so they match. Two is try to get as many like people of authority on as possible. So we have a full medical advisory board of like 10 OBGYNs and physicians. We didn't have that when we launched, right? We grew into that. We didn't launch with that. But I think trying to add the sense of like product efficacy and science backing with an authority figure like a doctor or a physician, and then just like great product reviews and storytelling from your consumer so people can actually understand and resonate with someone's journey. I think are kind of those three ways we do it. And then for us, when you get to a certain stage, we have active clinical studies on our products for the finished goods. So we're actually treating our products kind of like a drug. How do we do that extra layer, which is quite expensive, so not many people do it.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Hi, I'm Jimena. I also noticed that you're from Westlake Village. I'm from Westlake.
I am amazing. Represent.
Represent. I had a question about the capsules that you said you test a lot of them and then you kind of react to the consumer whether they like them or not. My question is about the capsules that don't do as well. Do you pull them after you realize that you're not going to move forward and make them into a gummy? Or do you just produce them at a lower rate, or do you just kind of leave it?
Again, a great question. It's a mixed bag. It kind of depends on the profile. So you don't want to be overly precious of your product. Like, I'm an eternal optimist. If you ask me if, like before a product launch, if this is going to be our next big product, I say yes every time. I'm just like, I think every product's going to be the next big product. But you kind of wait and see. Like there's different categories of products. We have our huge winners, our heroes that like instantly success. You have what we call small pond, which is like great revenue driver, but we don't really invest that much marketing dollars behind it and doesn't have that much. And then there's ones that just didn't resonate, right? The message didn't work, and we'll sunset those. And that's like, to us, you got to get comfortable with it. And again, it's kind of like, I'm sure a lot of the professors said, you just got to get comfortable with failure. Like, we got incredibly lucky that our first product worked and was able to scale. That's not always the case. Our 5 products after our first one were not successful until we hit menopause, until we hit our vaginal probiotic. So it's try to find an engine, test and learn, and then sometimes you just got to sunset and learn as much as you can and take that to the next one. And I have to say our hit rate over the years has gotten better because you learn and you learn and you learn. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Question in the back. Oh, you just go one at a time. Yeah. Lady first. Yeah. And then you go back.
Hi, my name is Dara. My question is, what would you say is your biggest contributor to the success of your first product? Especially around, and how much did the branding contribute to the success as well?
It's a good question. I think it's honestly like a little bit of both. It's like product versus marketing, right? I think the product was, a first of its category product. I love being first mover, but try to be first mover as much as possible. Like it's a fantastic tailwind to ride. And we created a product that worked and it had some backing. But like 100%, I'd say 50% of the success of the first product was marketing and branding. We made a brand that resonated with the consumer. It was science-backed but not overly clinical. It was your informed best friend and not a old, doctor in a white coat. And I think it was this timing in the market that was pretty unique. Now it's a little bit more common. Like it was pretty unique at that time. And it was like, again, we're talking in a consumer in this way. It was packaged in a package that was really approachable. So I'd say 50-50. You want to make a product that really works and people stay with, because that's going to be your success long term. But you got to get someone to buy it. You got to get someone to click that button and buy it just so they can give that product a go. And the brand had a lot to do with it.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
So I was wondering if there was anything you can remember, specifically from your time at LMU, that had a profound impact on your experience as an entrepreneur, especially maybe things related to critical thinking and problem solving.
Yeah, really wonderful question. I think I'll call out a couple classes that really had an impact on me, and then I think the perfecting of the pitch was really important. The classes and the practice of understanding how to convey an idea in a very simple, approachable way is really important. Not overcomplicate things. Make it so like a 5th grader can understand it, and get to the point. I think it was critical, and we learned that in a lot of classes. I'm sure you guys are as well on how to properly pitch, the elevator pitch. Like master that. It gives you a lot of confidence if you can do that well. And then we talked about this a little bit about a week ago. Was entrepreneur finance. It's like doesn't sound that sexy, but there's a thing called a term sheet when you get a investment from a VC. It's like a 1-2 pager, and there's all this jargon on there, and it's all confusing. And there's a thing called liquidation preference and all these things. And I had some idea, a little idea of what that meant because I took this class, and this class was all about like looking at term sheets and not accounting, but like how do you actually like understand when a VC puts money in, what does that mean, and what return do they have to get, and that like. Again, I think put us a little bit ahead when we were talking to these people that, well-intentioned, sure, but like want to get the best deal. And so it prepared us a lot for that. And then I think third piece is community. Like, again, I have, like Emma, one of my best friends here is like, we're still best friends to this day. I was in the entrepreneurship program. Carlos from the Sotros is a really good friend and entrepreneur. Chris Clifford, like these people that are friends for life, amazing entrepreneurs. That I have coffee with and talk about my problems with, and we can relate over these last couple of years. Probably wouldn't be here today without that, truthfully.
Speaking of pitch, Sam Altman, the Y Combinator founder, he says there's a correlation between people who can communicate their idea really well and their eventual success. You can't figure out why, but people who can talk about their business in a very concrete, succinct way end up doing pretty well in business.
Yeah, I agree.
And you also took a lot of good professors. You had Dr. DeMello.
I had the best.
Fundamentals. You had, at the time, Shameen Rustami for entrepreneurial finance.
That's it.
You had
St. Clair for marketing, right?
Julian St. Clair for marketing. You had Ludu Jaffe.
Jaffe, of course.
You had Paul Orfa.
Powerful.
You had me.
Yeah, right. Awesome.
Anyways, that was the whole point. But other.
I had actually one more that I think was an important question. Where does your company stand with like AI? Do you guys think you're doing really well? Do you think you're behind? And are you hiring now?
It's a good question. We're not like particularly like AI is going to affect everyone. Like I use AI personally a lot when it comes to email, and ChatGPT is like a thought partner and like sparking ideas. We see it probably mainly impacting us a lot when it comes to like customer experience, customer service, because it just can cut down time. And then newly, which I'm trying to get the team thinking about, is ad creation, video editing, things like that. Like there's definitely cool software coming out. I don't think it's there yet, but how can you use AI in ad editing and volume? And then product research. It's like an amazing research partner. So how can you use it as a research partner? So I don't know if we're doing the best, but like it's definitely something I'm like that annoying guy being like, oh, how can we use AI in this? But it's also like such a cliche, but it's genuine. Yeah.
There's a guy there, Lee, uses AI for marketing.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
There we go.
He's gonna join us for dinner. So you'll be bombarded with go ahead.
Hi, I wanted to ask you, you said you had one successful product and you started off with that and that was really good because you could just focus your energy on one. And then the other products you said failed until you reached like the menstruation one?
Yeah, menopause one.
Menopause one, sorry. My bad. But what made you keep going? Like, despite of the failures and you had one successful product, like what made you keep going and what was like the new product development cycle like?
It's a growth mindset, right? Like it was, the one product kept growing, right? So that was the lucky thing is we still had one growing. We knew that if we had this big vision, you're not going to hit 100%. So we kind of knew that going in a little bit, but it was just having a growth mindset. We wanted to build a company. We wanted to get better. We're going to keep trying until something works. And every time you fail, you learn something, which makes you think the next time you do it, you're not going to fail. Which is this like, it teaches you a lot along the way. So it's not like we knew the next one was going to be a failure. We failed once, and we're like, the next one's going to be a huge success. Then we failed again. We're like, well, we learned this stuff, so the third one's definitely going to work. Then you learn three things, and eventually the compounding of failures, I'm confident will lead to a success. And it did, and I think that's very true for almost anyone that keeps going. is like you just gotta keep learning is the key. If you fail and you don't learn anything, that's the real failure.
Thank you.
A few more questions in the back. Thank you, Alex, for running around.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, Bobby. So you talked a lot about where you came from, how it's grown. Where is it going? You know, I know you have a VC fund. I assume you guys have kept a lot of control since you've been able to use the cash flow to sustain the business.
Yeah.
What is the plan? Is it multi-generational wealth? Are you going to grow this into a family business and keep it going, or sell it?
So a fun question I think a lot about. I think, you know, the vision for the business, I think, is kind of probably threefold. One is, on a consumer lens, is how can we be the global leading women's health business and keep making disruptive products, keep adding as much value to her life as possible, and really, I think, again, make products for just these overlooked needs, because I think, again, we're just kind of scratching the surface. So that's like this one bucket of consumer. The second one would be like the drive of an entrepreneur is grow an incredibly scaling, growth, profitable business, and for us, probably eventually sell to a strategic partner one day, if it's a Procter, Unilever, you know, insert name here, to kind of, again, help us do that private goal. Help us, you know, how do we go launch this in Australia? How are we going to use this playbook to do Canada? And I think having, you know, amazing partners, and that would be helpful. It's kind of like what I did a year into the business. I'm going to get to a point where I'm like, what's the next phase and how do I get there? And I'm always someone that wants to bring on help and ask questions, and I think that's probably the right move. And then the third one, which is personally like connected to me, and I talk about this a lot, is building a business for the people, I always say in this room, but for the people in the office, right? Like for people that took a risk to join this tiny little startup when it was 5 people, to give them the experience, the exposure, this, you know, hopefully the relationships that like they go and create the next great company. They go, it's like O positive mafia, like PayPal mafia. Like this is like, it's a dream I have of like, how can I set up an org to give people all they wanted to then eventually go do this for themselves. It's fulfilling for me. If people go leave to start a company, I'm like root for them. I'm not like bummed that they left. Yeah. Those are kind of the 3 things.
It's nice.
Yeah, but that's what I would want.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I would want.
But that's why people say you're nice guys. You know, when I had you, when I announced that I was going to have you as a speaker, of course, Professor Lou Jaffe said, you know, Bobby's the nicest guy. So,
thank you.
Some people, they say they're entrepreneurs or serial entrepreneurs. It sounds like you fall more in the former, right? You want to build this and scale it as high as it can go.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a wait and see. I think I have it in me. I have a notepad. I'm sure like all you guys have 100 other ideas, and I think, you know, I could fool myself and say, hey, when this is all over, I'm just going to go chill on a beach somewhere. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think I'm going to be really excited to go build something, mainly because I love solving problems, and 2, because I just love doing it with other people. Like you just find incredible people that you just love doing it with every day. You're going to want to keep doing it. Yeah. Yeah, of course.
Hey there.
Hey.
I wanted to ask for the brand names you guys opted for each product. Is there any meaning behind each name? So like for Flow, for example, and etc. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good question. So the name O positive, I'll back up to O positive. So the name O positive is kind of the O plus is the female sign, right? So it's women's health, O positive health. And then each of our products, and O, kind of representing our gummy shape. So these trademark gummy rings, we're only vitamin on the market with these kind of like lifesaver gummy shape, which is a pain in the butt to make, but amazing. And we try to have them resonate as much as possible. So meno obviously is menopause, ends in an O. Flow is like your flow, right, which is a common word associated with the menstrual cycle. Uro, like urinary tract health, you know, connected a little bit. And prego is a slam dunk. Can't believe we got that one, which was a slam dunk. So all kind of resonating, all with like this through line of the O that feels some kind of like nostalgic. It's nice to say, it's fun, it's lighthearted. All kind of tying together with the O. A little complex, but it was fun.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
Maya over here. Oh, sorry.
Hi, I'm Jaden.
Hi, Jane.
I have two questions. The first one is, as a man in the women's health industry, have there ever been times where you felt out of place and how you've navigated that?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think, as we started the conversation, I think it was, super important to lead with empathy. And I think being a leader with empathy is incredibly important, even if you can't understand the experiences themselves. And then there are moments which I didn't fully understand. And I think the goal was, how can I ask as many questions as possible, and how can I surround myself with as many people who had that experience, right? If it be family, if it be our incredible executive team and our product development team, how can you surround yourself with people that have lived that experience, go into that conversation with no ego, and ask a lot of questions and lead from curiosity, has really helped me navigate those moments. But yeah, 100%. You have to think about, you're not only making those products, but you're leading a women's health company trying to better women's health, and you're a man. So it's really important to lead with empathy and surround yourself with the right people and lead with curiosity, I would say. It's really important.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah,
and,
of course.
kind of a follow-up is, what do you think has been the biggest learning moment in marketing to and resonating with your mostly female audience?
Oh, I think it's marketing in general, which is genuine, raw stories are the things that work. It's like you can spend millions of dollars on massive video shoots and it's beautiful and it's high production, and like nothing will beat a woman in her bathroom talking about her experience. And we've tried, right? We try everything, and I think there's this sense of emotion. There's this sense that like even when you're scrolling on your feed and the video's lower production value, you're like, oh, is that my friend talking? Like that's interesting. Let me stop and watch that. Versus like, oh, it's a commercial. It's Apple. Let me just scroll. So I think like huge learning is be genuine. It doesn't need to be high production value. It needs to be real stories. People get your product in people's hands and just let them go, right? And people say that a lot with influencers. Is like they know how to make content the best. Don't tell them how to make their content. Give them their product and ask them to do it. I think it's very much the same with just your general population, your general consumer. They love your product. Give it to them. Let them tell their story. Hopefully they'll film it, and then you can amplify their voice.
Awesome, thank you.
I mean, it happened even today, but you have people coming to you and say, hey, your product really works, right?
Yeah, that was very cool.
How does that make you feel?
Oh, it's incredible. It's the best part. It's the best part of everything we do. We're lucky enough to be in a business that no matter how hard it gets, we have this channel on Slack, which is like our internal communication tool, called Good Reviews. And like every day, we like without fail, there's just heart-wrenching reviews. And like they go deep. Like even me, me and Brianna, like the creator of these products, are shocked. We're like, oh, whoa, I didn't know it could do that. I didn't know it could have that much of an impact on someone's life. And it just ignites that fire in you. It ignites that fire every single day. You have a bad day, you go to that channel, I read a review, I'm like, all right, I'm good.
How many customers do you have?
Oh, I think 4 million, probably lifetime customers.
Like a lot of people's lives.
Yeah, a lot of positive impact.
Hi, I also have 2 questions. My first one, kind of building off of his before, was how do you deal, like, you have this urge to keep growing, and how do you deal with, like, the stress and pressure to continue?
Good question.
Oh, and personally?
Yes.
Yeah, I have an amazing support system. I have my wife and my family, and the beautiful thing was, I started this business with them. So every single day, to this day, when I go to work, I call my parents, and when I come home from work, I call my parents. And when on my way, on the way to work, I'm like energized, and I'm talking about all the things I have for them. On the way back, I'm just bitching about everyone that day, and everyone else. We all do that. That helps get me through it. It's emotional support. It's also having amazing mentors like Dr. Choi and Dr. DeMello and Lou Jaffe that you can call. And again, like it was hard when it was like lonely, when it was more solo. That first year of business was hard. Because it was me and Brianna. Brianna was on the design side, but I was trying to solve all these business problems. And it was more lonely. And then bringing on a team and growing the team like re-energized you. As long as you have someone kind of there to listen and talk about ideas, that's why it's nice to build a business alongside someone, to be honest. And if you're lucky enough, like I was, to have an amazing family or a significant other by your side, they're building that business with you if they're not in day-to-day or not, right? Like they're hearing about everything.
Do you
Yeah, and then my
meditate or do you
Oh, what am
exercise?
I biohacking things? Yes, I do have a cold plunge. I do, and I try to meditate. I don't do it as often as I should. But getting active. Like I go for if I can't think through a problem, I will go for a walk, and that will literally help solve all my problems.
You drink?
Drink alcohol? Yeah, not as much as I used to. I think it's been a downward trajectory, honestly, from my days sitting where you guys are, as I'm sure it will be for you all. But yeah, sometimes it gets in the way of building a business. Like you can't be hungover on a Monday if you're trying to build a massive business. So you might need to adjust your lifestyle, for sure.
Pretty good.
Yeah, and then my second question was kind of due to it being a dietary supplement and like the lack of FDA regulations stuff, how do you maintain like your moral ethics throughout all of this?
Oh, it's a really great question. I think it's one, just having a moral ethic value code for your organization first and foremost, right? Like, what are your non-negotiables when you're building this business? What are your values, and then how do you bring in people, like I talked about earlier, how are you bringing in people that mirror and match those values? So that's core. It's like, you gotta set that at the beginning. What are your non-negotiables? How are you gonna go into business? Because if you don't set that before, when a problem comes up, you might bend. So you wanna be very upfront before there's success, before there's failures. What are your values and what are your non-negotiables? And then in our industry specifically, it's a really good question. It's trying to do right by our consumers as much as possible. It's like, again, like you read these good reviews, and you're impacting people's lives, and it's something they're putting in their body. One, you want to show them how reputable you are, but two, like the eye is on you. Like with TikTok, with this, like there's one bad quality product, there's one thing, one voice can be amplified, which is amazing. I think you keep companies and people accountable. So you want to make sure that you're following through as good as you can.
Good question. Good Catholic school question.
Thank you for coming in, Bobby. I had 2 questions for you. First off,
I want to think about 2 questions.
first question I want to ask is, how do you feel that you really were able to tap into such an oversaturated industry? There's a lot of people trying to do what you're doing, and the follow-up question I have to that is, do you think there's any trends in this like health supplement space that are just going to blow up the next few years?
Ooh, good question. Give you guys some company ideas. I love it. So the first question is, I think, always go niche is my answer to that, right? Like, go niche, go unique, and you can always go broad. Don't start, like, you guys, like, we do all these analysis, and it's gonna be like, look at this market size, it's huge. Like, if we could just take 10% of that market, go to the small market and own the whole thing. That's what we did with menstrual health, right? If we did a survey before launching that product, people would be like, oh, this isn't worth our time, right? Like, why do this? Like, people don't want it, people don't know, like, and it ended up being a large business, and then we were able to go broader from there. So the category might be huge, but your problem that you're solving could be niche. And I think a good example of that, who is the investor in O Positive through our VC, is Peter Rahal, who's the founder of RX Bar. Peter started making bars for CrossFitters. That's all it was meant to be. It was like RX Bar was for CrossFitters. And then all of a sudden, it worked there, and it was in CrossFit gyms, and it scaled out and scaled out and scaled out, and then everyone's buying and putting their kids' lunch, right, in Whole Foods. So that would be my thought there, is even in a saturated market, you want to go niche. And then trends. So like a trend that we obviously are really passionate about, that I think will continue for both women and men, is this idea of hormone health. Like, I am a proponent that hormone health is the new like gut microbiome trend. Like, everyone talks about how the gut controls everything. Like, your hormones actually control everything in your body, and there's amazing things that can modulate them in a very positive way to stress, weight, like sex drive, all of these things. And then apart from that, I don't know, I think like flavor's pretty interesting as like a niche category. Like, people are messing with flavor a lot. You look at like Ghost Nutrition and what they're doing with licensing flavors and taking these nostalgia brands but then giving them new life on these new products. I think there's something interesting there when it comes to flavor and nostalgia and how it interplays with some new products.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, of course.
All right. How about Robert here? By the way, we're going to finish in about 5 minutes. Yeah.
Okay. Did I hear correctly, you have roughly 90 employees?
Yeah, correct.
Right. So you're generating about $2 million per employee.
Yeah, pretty good.
That's incredible. Yeah, so I'm just curious, especially when your products at average order values fairly young, roughly 50.
Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about the structure of your business internally in terms of operation? Do you have automation, robotics? How do you get to scale at this point?
Yeah, great question. In our industry, so primarily the thing that can drive people and the number of people up is if you have source manufacturing. So we use co-mans for everything. So we don't manufacture, we don't own the manufacturing. We outsource our manufacturing to like pharma grade partners. The structure of the team is like primarily marketing heavy, right? Like marketing, creative take up the majority of our organization, followed by product and product innovation, and then support functions. So we're thinking about like finance, operations, things like that. And I think, again, how we've been able to keep the team so lean is we find people that are worth 3 people. And it's genuine. Like the horsepower of someone, it's like, there's this amazing book, good book recommended for everyone, it's called No Rules Rules. It's the founder of Netflix talking about his culture and talking about high performance, and it's a high performing culture. And we subscribe to that. It's this idea that companies are not families, they're sports teams. You are working towards a championship. You will be lovey-dovey and best friends in the locker room, but at the end of the day, you're going to trade people and you're going to do whatever you can to get to that championship, and we're playing next to each other. And I think we hold that really true. And everyone's kind of packed, right? We don't hire people because we think we need to hire them. We hire them because everybody's so busy, we definitely need to hire that person. Because we're always living so close to the edge for years on that edge of profitability and trying not to take on capital, which I think is how really anyone should build a business. But again, there's no secret in operations or automation or anything like that. It's really talented people that can just do the job, I think, of 3.
And you actually hired a lot of people recently, so your team was even much smaller.
The team was small. We had a big hiring push in 2024. Yeah.
I know because I saw the job listings.
Yeah, we're growing. We're growing a lot. We're growing a lot. It's great.
All right, last question. Okay, about this young lady, she's very eager. I'm sorry about that, Joe.
Hi, my name is Jessica. So my question would be more like the loan side, like financial side.
Sure.
What is your take on loans for starting a business, and when do you know to walk away from a deal or take a deal?
Oh, that's a good question. I think loans are fantastic as long as you're not risking personal detriment, right? So like I would never agree to a personal guarantee or anything like that. And I think if it's enabling, it's hard to take a loan to just start a business. It's easier to take a loan to help fund growth. So if you have product market fit and you know you're going to sell that inventory and you just need some capital to buy more bottles or get more of that product, like debt and loans are like the best option because you don't have to go raise money, you can keep some ownership, you can keep your ownership stake, and you feel really confident in the business model because you have some product market fit. Taking, that heavy of a risk early on that isn't equity, but it's on the debt side, so a loan, to start the business, quite risky, right? In the early days, you want to find someone that's going to be your equity partner, that's going to get skin in the game, that isn't going to default on you. If the business doesn't work, the business doesn't work. We all lose together versus debt that's going to come try to get it from you. So I think it has a place, but it has a place a little further along in the journey than day one, is what I would say.
All right. It's time. How did you like this?
Wow, we're doing live survey right now. I just want to probably leave you guys with a couple things. I think there was nothing special about me, right? There was nothing special about Brianna and myself. There was nothing really that special. I mean, even
above average.
Even yeah, you can pull up my transcript. Even about this idea, right? There's this difference of like being precious of an idea, which I kind of reject, right? It's like you have an idea and everything is about the execution. It's how are you going to get hit down and stand back up? How are you going to have this idea and how you're going to pivot? I am on a board of a company that was energy alternative superfood tea company, right? It was called Noon Brew. And then within 6 months, they were Moon Brew and they were a sleep company. And now they're crushing it, right? So it's like you gotta be willing to pivot, you gotta be not so stuck in your ways, and the idea is not everything, it's the execution, and it's you guys, and it's the people you're gonna surround yourself with. And I had to learn that. I did not know that. I was always precious about my idea, not telling people, have my list and all these things. And it's like, truthfully, it's like being an entrepreneur is execution of an idea and the tenacity to just keep going and learning along the way. And again, like I have a funny story because I still feel like I'm one of you guys. I was walking around campus, we were getting lunch, and I was like thinking in my head, I was like, oh, I could blend in here. Like people probably think I'm a student. This is kind of cool. And I go to the store, and I'm like, let me get some LMU merch. I haven't had merch in a while. And the guy goes, hey, so like, what's your faculty like discount number? And I'm just like, oh man, like, do I really look like a faculty member? Like I was like, I feel like I'm a student. But you like just never lose that hunger, never lose that drive. I think to play and have fun. I enjoy what I do every single day. Like people tell you it's a grind and it's hard and it's hell. That wasn't my experience. I loved what I did. I enjoyed what I did. I kept some life balance and built amazing relationships during that time. It's what you guys make it. It's about the journey, it's not about the destination. And just kind of start. Just start. It's not going to be perfect. Just start and then learn is kind of what I want to leave you guys with. Yeah.
Amazing. Bobby, I want to thank you for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
A great job sharing your experience, inspiring our students. And I want to tell you from representing the faculty, I want to say we're really proud of you. Really proud of your success and really proud of the person you become.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys so much. That was wonderful.